Thank you very much. Thank you all so much for coming here tonight. I know in politics sometimes the biggest disappointment is that people don't learn from their mistakes. So we will learn from our mistake tonight, and we will have a bigger hall the next time we are going to be in Glasgow. Now, in this referendum campaign, there's a couple of myths that seem to just dog us forever and ever. The first one is, as Elaine suggested, that a yes vote is a vote for the SNP. The other one is that the independence movement is a vanity project for Alex Salmond. If this were remotely true, and I'm sure this panel and the panel next door of wonderful speakers we have would not be here today. If these myths were true, then no Labour voter, in fact, nobody in their right minds would be voting yes. Because the truth is, if the No campaign can keep saying these untruths, then they hope people will believe them. Their whole campaign revolves around fear and deception. If people within the Labour movement believe these assertions, then the No campaign wins, without ever having to present a logical argument for staying in the Union. It is Labour for Independence's mission, along with many others in the Labour movement, to put these falsehoods to the test, and that these falsehoods will not win out, and that there will be a debate, and that the Better Together campaign will be held accountable for all of their arguments. And that, comrades, is how we're going to win this referendum. You see, this vote isn't about nationalism. It's not even about identity. Well, certainly not for me. The referendum is about so much more than that. It's about having the powers to shape our nation for the better. It's about giving a voice to everybody in Scotland, not just those that can afford to have a say. The referendum is all about making a choice between the status quo or having a kind of society that people in Scotland really want, having a parliament that meets the needs and aspirations of the people, and having governments who act in the best interest of all who she serves. You see, it doesn't matter how big or powerful a state is if it does not respond and represent all of the people it's supposed to serve. It's my conclusion that the Westminster apparatus does not see beyond its own front door. If it did, surely it would not be signing up for an 11% pay rise while swarms of the country are struggling to put food on their tables. I've been a Labour supporter my whole life, and I've been a Labour member for most of my adult life. I grew up as a child of the Thatcher years, and I was told by my parents that it would all change once we had a Labour government in power. They, like so many people in Scotland, believed this to be true. And yet the truth is, it can never be done within this current union. You see, in order for Labour to become elected, they have to appeal to the power base in UK politics. That's Middle England and London. Studies have continually shown that these voters have vastly different priorities in Scotland. They prioritise finance, law and order, and immigration. In Scotland, we prioritise education, health, and care for the elderly. So then, as a party, as a movement, we face a choice. Some within the Labour movement will argue that we cannot abandon our comrades in Northern England. It's a noble notion, but it is just that, noble. Like going down in the sinking ship together. We can do so much more for our brothers and sisters across the border. We can lead by example, proving to them that the world is possible to have an economically sound, fair and equal society. A society in which newspapers and political parties don't rule on bigotry and fear. Rather one of inclusion and plurality, where everyone has a voice and nobody is left behind. Removed from the shackles of Westminster Labour Party, we could see a restoration of a real Scottish Labour Party, one which meets the aspirations of Scotland. Once again, we can become the party of the people of Scotland. I keep harbouring back to this, but it is about choice. This is the time to choose what kind of society we want to be a part of. Currently, we have a society where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. We have bankers claiming millions of pounds in bonuses for failing in their jobs, while those who work hard are struggling to keep their jobs and pay their bills. Bankers whose ineptitude was bailed out by the working men and women. These same people who are now being blamed for the failure in our economy. Confucius once said, "To be wealthy and honoured in an unjust society is a disgrace." That disgrace is still going on in this United Kingdom. We are the fourth most unequal society in the Western world. The Scotland we live in today has 1 in 4 children living in poverty. Parents are having to go without food to feed their kids. Pensioners are having to choose between whether to have a meal or to heat their house. Parts of Glasgow have a lower life expectancy than the Gaza Strip. For the first time in over a century, parents today can no longer hope to give their children better than what they have been given in their lives. More nurses are needed. Our children need better schools with better resources. The Red Cross are shipping in food parcels to Scotland in peacetime. That is a disgrace. And all the while they do that, we fund an outdated nuclear arsenal that has no place in a civilized modern society. This is a Scotland that has a 10 billion food and drink industry, strong agriculture, fisheries and timber industries, ever-growing tourism and trade, research and technology is continuing to develop, not to mention a potential £4 trillion in revenues in North Sea oil, future drilling possibilities in the west of Scotland, and 1/4 of Western Europe's renewable energy potential. For too long, we have waited and hoped for more from the Westminster government. We're not better together. We can do better, and we must do better. The choice to change this is in our hands. We can choose to stay as we are, or we can aspire for better. I want to see a Scottish Labour government get rid of that unlawful bedroom tax, to start rebuilding social housing, giving people affordable homes. I want to see the energy of Scotland back in Scotland's hands. I want to see a real Labour Party in 2016 sticking up for the workers, removing the anti-trade union laws passed by Westminster. I want to see people incentivised to work and given a proper salary, no matter what sector they work in. Not just by giving them a minimum wage, or what Westminster would describe as a living wage, but a proper living wage to ensure that anybody who works has no need to rely on state benefits. I want to see an end to competitive compulsory tendering, an end to PFIs, a renationalisation of Royal Mail. I want a nation that cares for all of its citizens without being labelled as a something-for-nothing society. I want to see a real Labour Party lead Scotland on the international stage, not just as an imperialist bully, but a proud nation that holds true its international commitments and responsibilities. We can have a return to a real Scottish Labour Party, one that my granny used to tell me about, that looked after the worker, who helped those who needed help, who created the safety net of the welfare state in the NHS. That's the Labour Party I'm proud to be a member of, and we can be that party again in independence. But it takes change. We need to put education before wars, healthcare before tax cuts for the rich, children before politicians. Within this union, this is impossible, but with independence, all things are possible. Now, that's not to say, I don't want to give you some mistruths here, that's not to say that independence will be a magic wand to cure all Scotland's ills. There will be hard work, and there will be mistakes made along the way. But independence guarantees that we, the people who live here, who care most about our society, determine how we go about shaping it. For too long, the labour and social movement in Scotland has blamed our woes on the ineptitude of governments in Westminster. On September 18th, we have the power to change that. I have 2 children, and my wife has given birth to our third son in April. On September 19th, how can I look at my 4-month-old son and tell him that we gave that power away? That because of us, because we believed the lies about how the Yes campaign is all about the SNP, that he and children he will grow up with will have to suffer the society we live in today, or worse. One of my party's founders, the great Keir Hardie, once said to the House of Commons, "The last has not been heard of the socialist movement, either in the country or in the floor of this House." I'm confident that if he was here today, he would be leading us. Because while on that floor we will never see again the socialist movement, it can be heard in every city, and every town, and every village across this great country. We all have a choice to make. Don't let fear and lies cloud your judgment. We will be the difference in this vote. We will be the party and the movement who leads Scotland to become an internationalist, strong, economically vibrant, socially just nation. All we have to do is vote yes. You have that choice on September 18th. You have that power. Choose to keep it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Allan. Thank you.